On March 18th, at approximately 0300 hours local time, an Iranian FOA-2 hypersonic ballistic missile struck a classified American military facility in eastern Kuwait. The target was a forward command post where senior American officers were conducting operational planning for ongoing strikes against Iranian military infrastructure. The missile penetrated the facility's hardened structure and detonated inside the main briefing room. 12 American military officers were killed instantly. The dead include 2 brigadier generals, 4 colonels, 3 lieutenant colonels, and 3 majors. This is the single deadliest strike against American command personnel in a theater of operations since the beginning of this conflict. And the weapon that delivered it, the FA-2, is a system that American missile defense was specifically designed to stop. It did not stop it. The FOA-2 is Iran's second-generation hypersonic glide vehicle. It was first publicly unveiled in November 2023. Though Western intelligence agencies believe the system entered testing as early as 2021, the missile consists of a 2-stage solid fuel booster that accelerates the hypersonic glide vehicle to speeds exceeding Mach 15 during the boost phase. After separation, the glide vehicle begins a controlled descent, maneuvering unpredictably during its terminal approach to evade interception. The system has a reported range of 1,400 kilometers, enough to reach any American installation in the Gulf region from launch sites inside Iran. And unlike traditional ballistic missiles that follow a predictable parabolic arc, the Fattah-2's glide vehicle can adjust its trajectory mid-flight, making intercept calculations extraordinarily difficult for even the most advanced defense systems. The command post that was struck sits approximately 40 kilometers southwest of Kuwait City. The facility is not publicly acknowledged by the Pentagon, and until this strike, its location was considered classified. It functions as a forward coordination center where American officers plan and direct air and missile operations against Iranian targets. The building is hardened against conventional strikes with reinforced concrete walls designed to withstand blast-over pressures from nearby explosions, but the FOA-2 did not detonate nearby. It penetrated the structure and exploded inside the briefing room where the 12 officers were gathered. The explosion was contained within the facility, which is why initial reports from Kuwaiti authorities described only a minor incident with no casualties. It took nearly 8 hours for the Pentagon to confirm what had actually happened. And when they did, the confirmation was clinical and carefully worded to avoid revealing how catastrophic the intelligence failure had been. The dead officers represent the upper tier of American operational command in the region. 2 brigadier generals, both with decades of experience managing complex joint operations. 4 colonels responsible for coordinating strike packages and intelligence fusion. 3 lieutenant colonels overseeing specific operational cells, and 3 majors serving as liaison between different service branches. These were not junior personnel caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. These were the planners, the coordinators, the people who translate strategic directives into executable military operations. And they were all killed in a single strike that Iran executed with a precision that suggests someone told Thrawn exactly where they would be and exactly when. The question of how Iran knew the location and timing of that meeting is now the subject of an urgent counterintelligence investigation. The facility's location was compartmented information. The meeting itself was scheduled less than 24 hours in advance. And yet, the Fattah-2 struck within a 15-minute window when all 12 officers were present in the same room. That level of precision requires either signals intelligence capable of intercepting American communications in real time, human intelligence from someone inside the operational planning structure, or technical surveillance that American security protocols fail to detect. Any of those possibilities represents a catastrophic breach, and the fact that Iran was willing to use the Fattah-2, a weapon it has deployed sparingly, suggests they considered the target valuable enough to justify revealing the system's operational capabilities. The Fattah-2 itself is now the subject of intense scrutiny across every defense ministry that depends on ballistic missile defense. Because if Iran can place a hypersonic weapon inside a hardened American command facility with the precision to kill 12 specific officers, then every assumption about what American missile defense can protect needs to be reconsidered. The United States has spent decades and hundreds of billions of dollars building layered air and missile defense networks designed to intercept incoming threats. Patriot batteries, THAAD systems, Aegis-equipped destroyers. These systems were engineered to defeat ballistic missiles traveling at known velocities along predictable flight paths. They were not designed to intercept hypersonic glide vehicles maneuvering at Mach 15 during terminal descent. And the Fattah-2 strike just demonstrated that the gap between what those systems were built to stop and what they are now facing is wider than anyone in Washington wants to publicly acknowledge. China released a statement within hours of the strike. Beijing expressed condolences for the loss of American personnel, but also noted that the incident underscores the futility of military escalation and the urgent need for diplomatic engagement. That statement is diplomatic code for a message directed at both Washington and Tehran. China is telling the United States that continuing to strike Iranian military infrastructure will produce more of these results. And China is telling Iran that it has made its point and should now de-escalate before the situation spirals beyond anyone's ability to control. Whether either capital listens is an open question. Russia's response was more direct. Moscow released a statement describing the strike as a legitimate act of self-defense against ongoing American military aggression. Russian Foreign Minister Lavrov stated that Iran has every right to defend its territory and personnel against attacks originating from American facilities in the Gulf. That framing is deliberate. Russia is not condemning the killing of 12 American officers. It is justifying it, and by doing so, Moscow is signaling that if the United States retaliates for this strike, Russia will view that retaliation as an escalation rather than a proportional response. That matters because Russia has intelligence sharing agreements with Iran, air defense systems deployed in Syria, and naval assets positioned to complicate American operations across the region. If Washington decides that 12 dead officers requires a major strike package against Iranian command infrastructure, Russia will know about it in advance and will have options for interfering. Inside the United States, the political reaction has been swift and divided. Hawks in Congress are demanding immediate retaliation against Iranian military leadership. The argument is straightforward. If Iran can kill 12 American officers with impunity, then deterrence has completely collapsed. And if deterrence has collapsed, then the only way to restore it is to demonstrate that attacks on American personnel will result in the systematic destruction of Iran's military command structure. The proposed targets include IRGC headquarters facilities, command bunkers used by senior Iranian military leadership, and the sites where the Fattah-2 missiles are manufactured and stored destroy those assets. The argument goes, and Iran loses both the capability and the leadership necessary to continue these precision strikes. The opposing view is that retaliating for the deaths of 12 officers by launching a campaign to kill Iranian generals will produce a cycle of escalation that neither side can control. If America kills Iranian commanders, Iran will respond by targeting more American facilities. If those strikes succeed, the pressure to escalate further intensifies. And at some point in that cycle, one side or the other decides that the only way to end the conflict is to use a weapon or target a facility that crosses a threshold from which there is no return. The people making this argument are not appeasing Iran. They are warning that the logic of escalation dominance, the belief that you can always hit harder than your opponent and force them to back down, does not work when your opponent has already demonstrated they are willing to absorb massive damage and continue fighting. The Gulf states are watching the situation with deepening alarm. Kuwait, where the strike occurred, hosts thousands of American military personnel and serves as a critical logistics hub for operations across the region. If Iran can place a hypersonic missile inside a classified American facility in Kuwait, then no American installation in any Gulf state is safe. And if American installations are not safe, then the governments hosting those installations are gambling that their alignment with Washington will not result in their own cities becoming battlefields. That gamble is looking increasingly untenable. Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Qatar, Bahrain, and Oman all depend on American security guarantees. But those guarantees are premised on the assumption that American military power can deter or defeat threats to Gulf security. The Fattah-2 strike just demonstrated that the most advanced weapon in Iran's arsenal can bypass American defenses and kill American commanders with precision. If American defenses cannot protect American officers, how can they protect Gulf governments? The intelligence failure surrounding this strike is as significant as the strike itself. Someone in Iran's intelligence apparatus knew where 12 senior American officers would be, when they would be there, and how to target them with a weapon system capable of penetrating a hardened facility. That intelligence either came from signals intercepts, human sources, or technical surveillance. If it came from signals intercepts, then American communication security has been compromised at a level that endangers every operational discussion happening in the theater. If it came from a human source, then someone with access to classified meeting schedules is working for Iran. And if it came from technical surveillance, then Iran has deployed collection capabilities inside American secure facilities that existing security protocols failed to detect. Any of those scenarios represents a breach that extends far beyond the single strike. Energy markets reacted immediately to news of the attack. Brent crude spiked $7 per barrel within the first hour of trading after the Pentagon confirmed the deaths. The market is pricing in the probability that the United States will retaliate and that Iran will respond to that retaliation by escalating attacks on Gulf energy infrastructure. The logic is straightforward. If Iran can kill 12 American officers in Kuwait, it can place the same weapon on a refinery in Saudi Arabia or an LG terminal in Qatar. And if that happens, the supply disruptions that are currently manageable become catastrophic. The next 72 hours will determine whether this conflict remains contained or explodes into something far larger. The United States is deciding how to respond to the deaths of 12 senior officers. Iran is preparing for that response and planning its next move. China and Russia are positioning themselves to exploit any fracture in the American coalition. The Gulf states are calculating whether their security partnerships with Washington are worth the risks they now clearly entail. And defense analysts across every military on Earth are studying the Fattah-2 strike to understand what it reveals about the future of precision warfare. What makes this moment so dangerous is that both sides have now demonstrated capabilities that the other side did not fully anticipate. The United States has shown it can strike deep inside Iran and destroy critical infrastructure with minimal warning. Iran has shown it can kill senior American commanders inside hardened facilities with a weapon that American defenses cannot reliably intercept. Neither side achieved decisive advantage. Both sides revealed vulnerabilities, and the result is a situation where continued escalation seems likely, but victory remains undefined. 12 American officers are dead. The weapon that killed them represents a technological leap that challenges the foundations of American missile defense. The intelligence that enabled the strike suggests a penetration of American operational security at a level that endangers every planning session happening in the theater. And the decision about what comes next is being made under time pressure, political pressure, and the knowledge that every choice available carries risks that extend far beyond this single engagement. The Fattah-2 did not just kill 12 officers. It shattered assumptions about what Iran can reach, what American defenses can stop, and what happens when precision weapons meet hardened targets in a conflict where neither side is willing to back.